What's up, everyone? And today I am bringing my Banlist predictions for the January 2022 Banlist. I don't know, maybe it hasn't sink in that it's 2022 yet. But for this Banlist, it's going to be a little bit, or this Banlist prediction is going to be a little bit different from my last one. The last one, I was actually able to edit it and do some really cool things with this. This one, I'm not really going to do much editing on it because this is being recorded on the 16th. Literally the day before it is expected. I'm honestly surprised it has not come out yet. And it could honestly come out tomorrow as recording this video, and then this video will probably just be completely pointless. But I still want to give my predictions on like what I think is going to happen and all that. So I guess let's just get started. So let's start off with what I think is going to get banned. First, Arch Nemesis Protoss. Do I think Protoss is the problem? No. The thing with Sword Soul is that it's really hard to hit the deck because the sword itself is just an overall very consistent engine. Or not really engine, but deck. I kind of view it in the same way as like Salamangrates, more or less. Salamangrates, hitting it indirectly just didn't really do anything. Because the core of the deck was just like, it wasn't relying on this card to be broken or that card to be really good. Like Sky Strikers, they have Engage. Tri-Brigade, they can use stuff like Barrier Statue. The Sword Soul is just that the deck is overall is very good. And honestly, since Burst of Destiny is still technically a newer set, just came out like a couple months ago, they're not going to hit anything from that set. And I feel like Protoss is just going to kind of like take the fall for it. Protoss is still a good card. Don't get me wrong. It's still an annoying card and can be very problematic when it comes out. It doesn't come out too often, but I feel like that's just going to be the Konami way. Just taking that off to kind of like take the fall for the deck. One thing was also like a Tenyi limiting of Tenyi Asahara, I think. I don't know, the Earth Spirit. I don't think that's going to happen because that's not really going to do too much either. I've seen people top with pure Sword Soul. Like, someone I know, I actually got first place at locals and even topped a regional with pure Sword Soul, no Tenyis. So obviously this deck can survive without the Tenyis, no problem. So limiting the Tenyis isn't going to hurt the deck at all. The next one of the two have to go. Either Artifact Scythe or Artifact Dagda. I'm more leaning towards Scythe. Dagda, it's not the problem card. The problem card is Scythe because it just locks you out of the extra deck. And the whole Dagda DPE thing basically allows Scythe to be abused heavily. While Dagda is the enabler, if you get rid of Scythe, Dagda's not really going to do much of anything. And it's also there in case they want to do something more with the artifact archetype. Because even if they ban Dagda, you still got Artifact Sanctum that can abuse Scythe. So Scythe is still going to be a problem even with Dagda banned. That's why I think Scythe is more likely to go as opposed to Dagda. Next is one I'm not too sure on it. I feel like it may get banned, but I feel like it might also avoid the ban list. And that is Imperial Order. Order, obviously, it's insane. It literally just locks all spells. Considering most back row removal is in the form of spells like MST, Twin Twisters, Lightning Storm, uh, Feather Duster, Cosmic Cyclone. Those are all spells. And if it's flipped over, like there's not really going to be a whole lot you can do. Sure, you can go into something like Nightmare Phoenix, but Imperial Order is definitely just an oppressive card. Although I feel like it could potentially avoid it as well, since there are some instances where Imperial Order is kind of needed, because with the new Sky Striker stuff coming out, I feel like that deck's going to probably reach a tier 1 status. And Order kind of counters that deck, but they also might want to ban Order to kind of like help that deck out a bit. Either way, weighing all the options, I feel like it's more likely to get banned. Next, Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda. Since it's been reprinted and it's like an $8 card right now, I don't think that's enough to really save it. I feel like its time has come because first it was abused by Dragoon. Now Phoenix Enforcer. What's next? Verte Anaconda is just an inherently generically unfair card. Basically just allowing you to cheat out all those broken fusion monsters. I just don't think it's going to avoid the ban list this time. Like last time I was thinking, yeah, it could get banned, but it was going to get a reprint, so you got reprinted in the Maximum Gold El Dorado, so obviously it did not get hit. But there's no reprints confirmed for it. I feel like they're going to hit it and its time has come. Moving on to the limit section. I actually have a lot less happening here. First, for limiting, I'm actually going to go with Tri-Brigade Fractal. Some people are thinking the Lyreless Recital Starling. However, I'm not quite too sure that Recital Starling is the hit to go. Yes, Recital Starling is good. It lacks a hard once per turn. But Fractal is basically just the thing that gets the entire deck going on live. And I feel like limiting it really hits the consistency of this deck, because I feel like Konami's really going to want to hit Tri-Brigade down a notch, since obviously they're going to want to sell Grand Creators. They're going to want to sell Floowandereeze, Sword Soul. And by limiting Fractal, that will definitely take Tri-Brigade out of Tier 1 and probably put it in more of a rogue Tier 2-ish kind of a status. And I definitely think Tri-Brigades have had their time to shine. Even with Fractal at 1, that deck's still going to be very terrifying. Because even if they don't open it, they still have the Lyreless cards. There's still just so many powerful things that a deck like that can take care of because of just how the deck functions. Next, I got two coming off the ban list. First one, Harp Horror. When is Konami going to bring it back? Harp Horror 1 is not going to do anything. Orcus has an uphill battle now. And I feel like the game has just kind of evolved past Orcus. Orcus with a one Harp Horror, it might be a rogue at best. One Harp Horror is perfectly fine. It's not going to make the deck overly powered. So they can bring Harp Horror to 1 just fine. Next, Blaster. I feel like it's time for another Dragon Roller to kind of come off. Honestly, I think all three can come off. I've actually been playing around with some of the band cards and kind of seeing like how powerful are they really now compared to today's standards. And the Dragon Rollers, they're okay. Like when I was playing around with a Dragon Roller deck, I had trouble against gadgets. The Dragon Rollers are definitely they're good cards. Don't get me wrong. And if you're bring all of them to 3, would it be a tier 1 deck? Probably not, but they would definitely be heavily abused, I think. But I feel like to 1, all of them can come back. However, putting all 3 to 1 on one list, that's not happening. But I think Blaster can come back just fine. It's not really... I feel like it's probably one of the... Out of the 3 that are still banned, it's definitely the weakest. Because Tidal and Redox are definitely good. Blaster's just meh, in my opinion. So it can come back to 1, no problem. Next, we have the semi-limits. We can limit... I feel like there are going to be 4. The first one is Salamangreat Mirage Stalio. Yes, it can come back to 3, but let's face it, since when does Konami ever bring something just back to 3? They like to be unnecessarily careful. And Mirage Stalio, when it was moved to 1, it definitely gave Salamangreats a big boost, but they're still a rogue-ish deck. And Salamangreat Mirage Stalio 2 wouldn't really change that much at all. That's just an extra Mirage Stalio in case their board gets broken or whatever. Next, I have Dynamite Knight. They've actually been working on kind of like a... They released True King's Return. Was it? Yeah. And well, honestly, I would rather have Masterpiece back at 1, and I perfectly think that is fine. Which I do want to talk about that in like a future video down the road. However, I feel like it's more likely that they're going to bring Dynamite back, because Dynamite, is that really a broken card? No. It's good inside True Dracos, but it's just a searcher for the traps. And the traps themselves they're good, but I don't really think they're that overpowered. You could honestly bring Dynamite Knight back to 3, and that really wouldn't give True Draco any sort of a push. The only way to do that is either bring Dagran back or Masterpiece. Next, I got Infernity Archfiend. There's still Infernity support on the horizon. They can bring Archfiend back to 2. Like, yes, the Infernity Archfiend and Infernity Launcher are definitely really good, and I do see how they could be abused. So Launcher, I still think needs to stay at 1 for now. If they were to move one of the 2 back, I definitely think it'd be Infernity Archfiend. Lastly is a bit of an interesting pick. I actually picked Scapegoat. Now, Scapegoat is a token generating card, so most people would probably say, why? Can't it just be abused with links? The answer to that is no. Because Scapegoat, you cannot summon other monsters to the turn, you activate this card. And that restriction right there, I feel, makes it more balanced. So basically, what you have to do is set Scapegoat, activate on your opponent's turn, then do something with it on the following turn. Basically, that's as slow as a flip monster. And I feel like at that point, it is perfectly fine. Most oftentimes, those tokens aren't even going to last. They'll just be destroyed, or something will be done with them. It may be left with 1 token, which isn't really going to get you much. So I feel like Scapegoat to 2 is perfectly fine. Just kind of test the waters, see how it is, because I feel like it could come back to 3, but, you know, it's Konami, they unnecessarily semi-limit things. Now next we have cards getting unlimited and going back to 3 completely off the ban list. First, Skullcrobat Joker. If that wasn't obvious. I feel like that's the most obvious thing anyone could pick. came back to 1, then came back to 2. Obviously, going back to 3 is just the next step. Next, we got Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Yes, Dragon Link is still a good deck, but is 3 Dragoon, or not 3 Dragoon, obviously 3 Dragoon would be very terrifying, but is 3 Red MD really all that powerful? With Yurata? No, because it is now a hard once per turn. The reason why it was limited was because it was a soft once per turn, which allowed it to be heavily abused. Can't do that anymore. So it can come back to 3 perfectly fine. Next we got Danger Nessie. Honestly, I was surprised that Nessie got semi-limited too, but if it's going to semi-limited too, they're probably going to try to take Danger Nessie completely off the list. Next is another interesting one, Sega's Light. Sega's Light, it's a very format-depending card. If there's a deck that's basically primarily all monsters and not really any spells or traps, Sega's Light is really good. But is anyone really going to play Sega's Light in 2022? I don't think so. Sure, it draws you 2, but you got Extravagance, you got Prosperity, you got Avarice, you got Duality. Like, you got so many ways to draw 2 or Excavate. That's not worth running a card like Sega's Light at all, because Prosperity is just a superior version. And Sega's Light has the nasty effect of you cannot have any spells or traps in your graveyard to activate this card, and for the rest of the duel, you cannot activate any spells or traps. A lot of decks, or at least all of the best decks right now, rely on a spell or a trap in some way. Wonders, you got the field spell, got I think it was Sorceral Emergence? Like Leerless, you obviously got the Searcher, like there's, and obviously you can't run staples like you can't run Foolish Burial, you can't run the pop cards. No Dark Roller, no Droplets, no Evenly. Yeah, I'd rather run those than Sega's Light. So I feel like Sega's Light can come back to 2, or well, not really to 2, to 3, and nothing would happen. Because let's be honest, nothing will happen. Next is a car I've been hoping would come back for a while. Trickstar Light Stage. To me, Trickstars is a fun deck. It's a very interesting deck. And it was... Light Stage was hit because of Orcus Sense. Why is it still on the list when Orcus really isn't doing anything? They brought Rusty back. Did that make Orcus broken? No. It did not really improve Orcus' chance that much at all. And Light Stage is a good card. It's a searcher for Trickstars, and obviously without it, the deck suffers quite a bit. So I feel like it can come back to 3, no problem. Nothing's going to happen. Well, that's it for my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next video. Bye.